Hey, I am Lamar Tyler from Traffic Sales and Profit.
And I'm Freddie Taylor with Urban Intellectuals.
And you're tuned into another episode of Black Business Icons, where we talk about and dissect the lives of the greatest black icons who ever walked this earth so that we can learn from them and implement the same things in our businesses. So Freddie,
I love it.
We've been going back and forth every episode. You know, you got some bangers.
Yeah, you've been all right.
I put people that got the I in icon. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I mean, but you got some. I don't want to diminish any of these people.
They all
because they all
right.
amazing. But we just got to talk a little bit of junk.
I mean, we need a little bit of banter.
Right. So today, we come with the ladies, like a all female episode.
Yes.
Where we're talking about two of the best to ever do it.
To ever do it.
You know, I'm talking about the first, right? Like they got the first in front of their names.
Yes, they do.
For very big accomplishments.
Two of the first.
And iconic. And I'm talking about these women, like when their names are mentioned, they just garner respect.
Yeah.
I'm gonna break down somebody we had at one of the TSP conferences, Janice Bryant Howroyd, the first black woman to build $1 billion business. Who you got?
That's strong. I got the first black woman millionaire in this country, Annie Malone.
Oof.
Yeah.
And oftentimes overlooked.
Oftentimes overlooked.
Are we gonna get into that?
Yeah, we gonna definitely get into that.
Okay. So this is a good one. So if you're watching, like this episode is so important because right now we're seeing black women reaching all types of new heights, breaking all types of glass ceilings and stereotypes, and rocking and dominating in the world of business.
Seriously.
But let me tell you, they've been doing that. Again, right? Another one of those things where we think we're on to something new, but the sister's been doing it.
Been doing it.
I want to hear about yours first, because this is historical, right? She's one of the ones that set the pace and laid ground for when my person comes along.
Absolutely. I agree with that. It's a beautiful story. Starting in 1869. It's amazing how that time period produced so many iconic people, right? We've been talking about a lot of them, but Annie Malone was born in Metropolis, Illinois in 1869. So
Hold on, let me stop you right there, right? Because something you said, as we're going through these people, like I said, a lot of these people we talking about late 1800s, just on the heels of, right, freedom and slavery being abolished and this type of thing. But as we look back, for one, that wasn't that long ago.
No.
This is only like a few generations, right?
Yeah.
It's like maybe like our grandparents' grandparents. Like this ain't that long
Literally.
ago. But then the other thing is, if we were doing these type of feats, we had people that were this amazing in the late 1800s. What if we got free 100 years early? I mean, this is totally got nothing to do with today's episode.
Yeah, we
but it got everything to do with today's episode.
I like it though.
I just wanted to drop that out into the atmosphere.
But it's like we're in that now. Right? Now we got all this opportunity in front of us. I just think that we shouldn't squander it, right? Like
That's
we got
good.
work to do.
That's good. All right, I want to introduce Metropolis.
No, Metropolis, yeah. Metropolis, the home of Superman, by the way. That's what Metropolis, Illinois is known for, other than Annie Malone being born there. But she soon after moved to Brooklyn, Illinois, which is modern day Brooklyn, Illinois, which is outside of East St. Louis. I got to give a shout out to the wife. My wife's from East St. Louis, so she'll love this episode, right? Got a little East St. Louis mentioned in there. But this area of Illinois, which is near St. Louis, was always really popular for the black community, right? Again, segregation and all of this stuff is happening. You couldn't move across the water into St. Louis, so a lot of them bordered on the east side of the Mississippi River and ended up in areas like Brooklyn, East St. Louis, and the surrounding areas. Anyway, so Annie was a inventor, right? Inventor, an entrepreneur, and a creative and a visionary, a major thinker, right? Most of the time, C.J. Walker is brought up about this hair care industry, right?
Also, oftentimes being the first black woman millionaire.
Yes, incorrectly, because C.J. Walker actually worked for Annie Malone. This is a really interesting fact that I've discovered while parsing through the story. But Annie started her hair care business, and she would go around door-to-door selling, right? So she was a door-to-door saleswoman. She started with two other people, so it was three of them that would go door to door and start to build her company, which she called Poro. By the 1900s, she moved into St. Louis, but by then she was already a millionaire, right? She had built up and made her first $1 million by the turn of the century. Incredible
like
story.
a million.
A million.
Not like 300,000 equal to million today. You know, like a million
like,
cold hard cash back then.
Back then, right? So she had some money, right? But what's interesting about her story is, then from the business aspect, she would give samples. Right, so we just talk about lead magnets and giving people a little bit of this and that. So she would do your hair, or she'd give you some of the treatment that she created for free in order to get you using it. And then once you're using it, you have some success. Bang, we got you into her sales funnel, right? It's really the same type of business models that are being created.
And also some of the same things that Madam C.J. Walker did as well. But then again, you can now see this, right? Because if she worked for Annie Malone, then naturally you would say, hey, these are the things that's working, that's how I get clients.
Yes.
Let me implement this to my own business.
Yes. Now, Annie is, man, here go that thread of responsibility to the community and give back. And like, what are we gonna do to have impact on other people? When she got into St. Louis and started growing out her enterprise, which ballooned, right? We'll get into that in just a second. She built her first office, right? Not her first office, but her first Metroplex. That's what I'm gonna call it. But there's
that sound big.
Yeah, it was big. It was huge, right? This place is gigantic, right? But she, inside of that, she had a college. She had a rooftop garden. Get this. Okay, hold on, let me back up. She had a college. She had a dorm. She had a bakery. She had a hotel. She had a 500-seat theater. She had a sewing office because they would make the clothes for the people that worked in poor organization, and they would make the clothes for the students. She had a rooftop garden. You're gonna like this part. She had a rooftop garden, a manufacturing facility, and a retail store. So she was growing her products, manufacturing them, and selling them all in the same place. Vertical integration right there inside of her building, inside of
the Metroplex.
The Metroplex.
I was about to be like, ooh, I'm gonna change my building name to the Metroplex. Nah, I got some offices.
Yeah.
It literally, I thought she just was like, hey, you got an office, you can call it a Metroplex?
Yeah.
That sounds like something called the Metroplex.
It was humongous, right? But it was beautiful space because she was teaching, and the college was a beauty college, so she was teaching the youngsters about cosmetology and hair and black hair and all of this opportunity out there because she know that they can do this and they can go make money. But she was training the women in community building, right? Mm-hmm. So they all gave back. That was part of the mission of the college. But she was hiring people in the community. 2,000 people worked in this Metroplex, right? In the Metroplex. Like, that's how big this place was and the organization that she had built. Beyond that, she had door-to-door salesmen that she built their agency around the world. This was a global operation. She had 75,000 agents all over the world. She was represented in the Caribbean, Central America, South America, Africa. They said anywhere black people were at, Annie Malone had her representatives there. She was in all the major cities in the United States. She was all throughout Canada. Just a humongous organization, but it was all built around the principle of giving back. Like, she almost gave away all of her money building out children's hospitals and organizations for the elderly. Like, she is a staple in the black community, but she oftentimes just gets overlooked. I don't know why CJ Walker has a better marketing campaign than Annie Malone, but I think it's kudos to you in this show, right? Black business icons, we can get her name out there so people can start to learn her story and be inspired by it. But I figured you would love that vertical integration piece.
Yeah, it is. And I love, like, you talk about 75,000 people in the organization. And as you said that, what it brought home to me was not just, okay, how much product are they pushing through those 75,000 people to, homes of people all over the world, but also how much opportunity is she providing?
Yes.
Because that's 75,000 people where I'm sure a lot of those people, economically, their lives were changed based on her business. And I think, again, that's the power of entrepreneurship. Earl Graves Sr., who we talked about in the episode, one of the things he said, and it struck me, he talked about the fact that, black folks, we need political power, we need, social power, we need economic power, but he said economic power leads the way. Like, you can't have political power and put anybody in office if you ain't got money to do it, right? You can't have social power if you ain't got money to do it. So like, the economic power is important. And when you can get 75,000, not just customers, right, but people in your organization that use your product or service, that help promote it, that help sell it, that help drive it through, the amount of lives you can change just astronomically, exponentially increases.
Yeah, it's really strong. It's crazy how that thread is running through everyone, because when you mentioned Earl Grey's, I thought about Maggie Lena Walker. She was on the same thing. Economic power is very important. She even said it's not the ballot, it's the dollar that we're going to use to make a difference in our
And then built a bank.
And then built a bank around. I mean, it's
you gonna talk about it, or you gonna be about it.
Look at this though. Here go black women 100 years ago, over 100 years ago, dominating and leading the way, like they always have been. So that's just hats off to them.
So that's amazing. I want to bring it up some.
Come on.
Right? So a woman that's still here, still dominating, still an amazing entrepreneur. And we had at one of our traffic sales and profit TSP events, TSP Live 2019. I need to get her back. I remember just before we started taping, I said, man, I need to get this sister back.
Yeah.
Janice Bryant Howroyd, the first black woman to build $1 billion business. When I'm talking about building $1 billion business, I'm talking about her company, Act One. They provide staffing solutions, temporary employment placement. And what they've done now, I mean, over 17,000 clients, thousands of employee and team, doing business over 19 countries around the globe. Again, we talking about a woman now, you know, like I said, maybe 100 years between these two women, but global impact. Making tons of money, and not just making tons of money, it's the impact of that money. How many people are they employing? How many, you know, I talk about they employ 1,000 people, how many lives do they change because they had this idea and they built it? And the thing I love about Janice Bryant Howroyd, her story, just like a lot of these icons, Freddie, you said they weren't born with the silver spoon. Like, you can sit here and think, well, it's easy for them because one of 11 children, born in Tarboro, North Carolina. She said herself from the stage at the TSP Live event. She said that was not the city, based on what she said, right? She said it's a segregated town. But here she is, in the early 70s, starting a company with $1,500.
Wow.
900 of that came from her mama.
Shout out to the mamas
Shout out to the mamas, right? The mamas came through in a lot of these stories, mamas stepping up.
Yeah.
But the beauty of it again is somebody starting with a little bit, but having the idea, the ingenuity, the grit, the work ethic, right? To make something happen out of nothing. To say, hey, you know what? All I got is $1,500. And this is, by this time, she's moved to LA. She's launching this company in Beverly Hills. I don't care, even in the 70s. $1,500 to start a company was not a dime. And if you're talking about starting in Beverly Hills, that's even less.
That's even less.
So with $1,500, 900 that bought from her mother, a fax machine and a desk. And she got going and got started and built that into $1 billion company. Forbes magazine says now her net worth is $620 million.
Wow.
And as you saw, because you were there when she came to TSP Live, one of the most down home, you know, like it didn't feel like the queen is in the building. Right, everyone, ting, 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 let's all listen.
Right, no.
I mean, no, she looked like money. She felt like money. Let's not be clear about that.
I'm pretty sure she smelled like money.
She doesn't necessarily look like the rest of us in there, right? She looked like she was worth every bit of that $620 million.
Yes, she did.
But was able to just resonate and connect with us. I talked about her being one of 11 children. One of the things I love about her backstory, she said, check this out. Her parents would assign one of the older children to be a mentor for one of the younger children.
Oh, I love that.
I said, man, I wish I would have caught hold of that earlier when the kids were smaller.
Wow.
So she said she had an older sister that looked out for, they had to make sure that, hey, you know, they got their clothes, they got to school, you know, they got the chance to eat or whatever it was they did. They had a mentor there in the house, and I'm sure that fostered an additional level of kinship and family, you know, inside of them. I knew you don't like that one.
Yeah,
I didn't want to tell you that until we got on camera with it.
Yeah,
when I read that, I said, ooh, that's a good one. I said, man, I needed that when my kids are small.
For real.
Because I'm not having any more to test it out.
We done with it.
I'm just going, right now, I just got what I got. You know what I'm saying?
We gonna share that nugget.
It is what it is, right? When grandkids come, I'm gonna tell them to pair them up. But
there you go.
Again, like tight-knit family, being able to grow, being diligent about what she's built. And again, right, being diligent about teams, being diligent about employment, being diligent about having high levels of expectation. around her and the people around her, and being able to just operate at a high level, being able to put the work in so that you can see success. Between her and her family, they own like dozens of properties, they say. And she even gave us a nugget when she was at TSP Live 2019, and she even talked about real estate and how she invests. Now, her and her family own dozens of properties, but she talked about moving into Venice Beach area, you know, when it was not the Venice Beach that we know today. It was a little more downtrodden, a little more seedy. But she talked about the fact that, hey, it was the location, and she knew that one day it would turn around, so she was investing in it now. And she even told us, like, hey, when we're going out and looking for homes, and as we grow and our business grows and our money grows, not to try to get the biggest house, you know, in that neighborhood. You want one of the least expensive homes in that neighborhood, so the bigger homes actually make it appreciate up.
Yes.
And just like so many, you talk about somebody's built $1 billion business, you're talking about just nuggets on top of nuggets on top of nuggets that they have, and they can share with you along the way.
Yeah.
And she, I mean, inspired me, inspired so many in the audience that day. And I would recommend, right, if you're watching this, you want more about her. She had a great book that recently came out, Acting Up, that kind of chronicles her business journey. I would highly recommend you getting a copy and reading that book. She's the truth.
She is definitely the truth. And I got a thread that runs between both of them because they built large global organizations, systems. Right? Like they're building the system so that you can repeat it, you can teach the next person. It's predictable, what you always say, consistent, predictable revenue,
Yep.
right? It's driven from systems, and that's definitely how you scale a business, any business, not just cosmetics or HR or staffing, right? So systems are still the important key to all of us, no matter what stage of the business that you're at. But if you really want to grow, you're gonna need to get these systems in place.
Exactly. So if you want to grow, whether you're looking at systems that Janice Bryant Howroyd began building, 40, 50 years ago, whether you're looking at systems that Annie Malone helped build over 100 years ago, know this possible. They did it, you can too. And the other thing you need to do is make sure you check us out consistently on the very next episode of Black Business Icons. Peace.
The Convo, your home for conversations on Black entrepreneurship and wealth, available on your favorite platforms.